Thank you for joining us today for another edition of Conversations with AARP in the Virgin Islands. I'm Troy Deshabert Schuster, your host and State Director for AARP in this territory. In this episode, we're going to focus our discussion on the electoral process in the Virgin Islands. At AARP, we believe that the right to vote is not just a privilege, but a fundamental right and even a duty. It is one of the ways in which we exercise and protect our democracy. In recent years, many states and territories, especially since the 2020 elections, have revised their voting laws. AARP has been at the forefront, advocating to ensure these changes do not impose unnecessary burdens on voters, particularly those aged 50 and older and their families. As we approach the 2024 elections, AARP remains committed to safeguarding access to the ballot, especially for the older voters, who comprise the overwhelming majority of voters in every election. In fact, a recent poll of voter populations across the nation found that voters aged 50 and older will be the group that decides the control of their legislative halls in the 2024 election. The same is true in the Virgin Islands. Today's show is dedicated to ensuring that every Virgin Islander's right to vote is not only protected, but also empowered with all the necessary resources and information to make informed decisions in the upcoming 2024 election cycle. Joining us today is Terrell Alexandre, Deputy Supervisor of Election Systems of the Virgin Islands in the St. Croix District. And so we welcome Terrell.
Good day,
Terrell, welcome
Troy.
to the show.
Thank you for having me. I don't know what happened to my camera. My camera was on and it just turned off on me. But I am here. I'm trying to get my camera back up and running. Hopefully I should be able to get that done shortly. But thank you for having the election system on.
Yeah, thank you for being with us today. And we certainly understand technical difficulties, especially with the internet and cell phone woes that we're facing here in the Virgin Islands. So hopefully, yep, it looks like you're coming back to us now. Perfect. So, Terrell, tell us, first of all, what does the election system of the Virgin Islands do? For somebody who absolutely knows nothing about the election system of the Virgin Islands.
We do a lot. So the average individual, if you ask them what we do, we really conduct elections every 2 years and that's it. But we do have a day-to-day office. We do conduct voter registration every day, Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. We do campaign disclosures. We do trainings of our machines, and we do prepare and we do an analysis of post-election. So every election is different from each other. They may seem to the average voter to be the same process. And we're always looking at new technologies to improve the process. So there is a lot of work that we do that we don't be credited for. Our database, our voter database can be provided to provide statistical data for our voting population.
And so the election system of the Virgin Islands, does it come under the judicial branch, legislative, executive, or does it stand by itself? How does it fit into the whole framework of government?
So we stand on our own. We're under an elected board. The Board of Election is a 14-member board. Each member has to run to serve a 4-year term. Their terms are staggered. We have each election, one election cycle, it will be 4 members running, and then the next election will be 3. There's 7 members from each island. From St. Croix, you have 7 members. St. Thomas and John, you have 5 from St. Thomas and 2 from St. John. But we're not a part of the executive, judicial, or legislature, but we're under our elected board.
Well, that's excellent. So that means that it keeps it all away from influence by any of the branches of government, right?
Well, our office is very partial. We do not associate with we do utilize some of their services, but we do utilize it to an extent. And that's more of a cost saving measure.
Right. So the right to vote is a fundamental human right. Could you shed some light on why voting is such a critical component of our democracy, and how does the election system office ensure that every vote is counted and every voice is heard?
Well, before we could even get somebody vote to be counted, the first step is to have them register to vote. The election system does a Herculean task of ensuring that every eligible registrant of these beautiful U.S. Virgin Islands are registered to vote. It's a simple process. The entire process takes no more than 15 minutes, and at the end of the day, we give you an ID. We don't we there we see a lot of individuals come to our office and they just register to get the ID, but it's more than the ID. Our family members prior could not register to vote because they didn't own property. That was one of the requirements. They didn't had You had to meet an income requirement. Because of the color of your skin, you could not require to vote. There are places, and this is currently in the United States of America in 2024. They are putting restrictions that disallows you from registering to vote. These restrictions do not happen here. We always encourage people to come out, register to vote. The first step is to register to vote. Once you come in to vote, it's a simple process. The entire process takes no more than 10 minutes. Um, the staff do an amazing job, but I have to give them kudos for that. They are the face of the organization. They are who you're going to see when you come in on a day-to-day basis. They're going to register you to vote. They're going to tell you about the process. Yes, we can ask you some questions, Miss Fox, myself, Miss Douglas, the board members, but it's mostly the staff. They do that legwork. Our poll workers, they assist you throughout the process. There's only so much that we can assist a voter in the process, but you can also bring your assistance. And we always encourage individuals, don't wait until election day to find out about the process. Like right now, it's a slower period in our office. Come in and just learn about the process.
And I must say that you and Ms. Fox and the entire team at the election system of the Virgin Islands, you all do such great work. Each time I've voted or even gotten an absentee ballot for my mother when she was still with us, etc. The whole process was so smooth and so easy, very efficient. And so I really encourage our listening and viewing audience, don't be afraid to go to the election system of the Virgin Islands.
Right. And
Don't
that's
think it's going to be a long, slow process.
Yeah, that's something we're very grateful and that's something we pride ourselves for. But we can't only take the credit from ourselves. It's partners like you, AARP, WTGX, the different media outlets, just to get our message out like this. They're just having us here. It helps the process. So your listening audience could come in because it's something that we have a hard base of getting a base of followers to listen. But I know AARP, they have that base where they can meet where they could reach their representatives, and that's something that we always try and partner with different organizations. So why we may be doing a great job, but we wouldn't be able to do this great job without you, WTGX, and any other organizations, the different various government agencies. So we're very grateful for that.
Well, thank you so much. And it's always a pleasure to work along with the election system of the Virgin Islands. AARP at its heart is a social mission organization, an advocacy organization. And we're always seeking ways to empower the 50 plus population to choose how they live as they age. And voting is a big part of it. And every 2 years, all across the country, we do a lot of work with voter education, um, helping people to know the candidates, helping people to know or learn how to vote, where to vote, how to get there, etc. So this is a big part of our work, and we're so pleased that you and your organization allow us to work with you to get that information out. So I think it's a really, really, really great partnership, and we look forward to doing even more this year, right, as we work our way
Correct.
toward the 2024 elections.
Correct. So this will be considered a small election in the territory, but it's still an election for us. We're going to execute it. Whatever assistance we're going to get, we're going to accept it. We're never going to turn it down. Once you remain impartial to the process, we're going to accept your assistance.
Yep, yep. And we always remind people that AARP is nonpartisan. We do
Correct.
not endorse any candidate or any political party, and so yeah, we are totally impartial to the
Correct.
whole campaign scene, if you will. But
Correct.
again, helping voters to learn and talking about the 50 plus population. Each time I've looked at your statistics, the vast majority of voters is over the age of 45. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, our largest percentage of voters are that 50 plus age range. We do utilize resources to get individuals between 20 to 29 to register to vote, but for whatever reason, those age group just don't turn out. So we have this master plan where we always say, so we know that the 50 plus is the highest voting age group. So that means that's somebody's grandchild, that's somebody's daughter, that's somebody's niece. So I always encourage, if you're coming out to vote, especially the 50 plus one, bring out one of your grandchildren, introduce them to the process, bring them out to register to vote. Because especially in these times when the voting process is not a popular thing to do, like you have where the candidates out here screaming fraud when they lose, and you only hear fraud when a candidate lose. I could bet my last dollar you have never heard a winner of an election say it was fraud. It's only a loser. And
Right.
we always encourage candidates to learn the process. The better you know the process, the better you're able to succeed in the process. So we always encourage you, 50 plus one, bring out a younger person to vote when they're coming out to vote. We're going to do our part. We're trying our best. We're looking at different initiatives to do in this upcoming election and future election cycles just to get our message out, get to reach out to voters to improve that process. Like last election cycle, we had a higher percentage of voters, but that was due to a recent change of law.
And getting back to the fundamentals, walk us through the process of how one becomes eligible to vote. And uh, if one is marginally eligible, what steps do they need to take to become eligible to vote? So again, what makes somebody eligible to vote?
It's a very simple process. Being a U.S. citizen, being 18 of age, you mean 18 years of age, you just simply visit our offices. Currently, our voter registration is only limited to in person at one of our respective offices at St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. St. John is Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Marketplace. St. Thomas is at Lacquard Gardens above of the Bank of Popular. And in St. Croix, we are located in the Sunny Eyes Shopping Center in the main Sunny Eyes Shopping Center between the movie, where the former movie theater was located. Simply come into our office with either your birth certificate, your U.S. passport, your naturalization cert, or DD 240, any one of those documents. It cannot be a copy, and the passport cannot be expired, and that's it. We asked you a few questions. The last four of your social security number, your physical address, your mailing address, what party affiliation that you want to do, and everything. It's your choice. Nobody's going to feel. You're not going to feel pressured to make a decision like, hey, you need to be registered as this specific party. As you said, we're an impartial organization. We don't support any specific party. The party, that's a responsibility of the party to get people registered for the party. So it's your choice to do.
Now, when somebody registers for a party, can they, in the elections, vote for a candidate of a different party?
So they will only be restricted in the primary election. The primary election is the first Saturday of August, but in the general election, which is the first Tuesday in November, you could vote for anyone that you can, any candidate that you so desire to. You're not restricted to a party affiliation. If it's your choice to do a party affiliation, you can do it, but you're not. It's not a mandate that you have to.
And last year, I believe it was last year, well, sorry, 2 years ago, pretty much, you started a new process where no matter where you live, you can vote at any polling place. Tell us about that, and is that still going to be the process this year?
Yeah, so that actually started in 2020. Part of it was COVID, but that's voting at any voting center. You can vote at any location, so you're no longer restricted to the voting center in your specific jurisdiction. It helps the process because sometimes I may be living in Frederick said, but I work in Christian said. So you may be in the vicinity of the Christian State Voting Center, so it may be easier for you to do. But we do see a lot. The average individual do stay within their where they live to vote. It's really, you'll see a smaller percentage of individuals who go out, but you still have that options. We're always looking at ways to improve the process. We don't want to have restrictive and voting. Like in certain states, you cannot even distribute water to voters while you live voting in waiting in line. That is against the law. You could be arrested for that, which we think is crazy, but that's not something that happens here in the Virgin Islands. Because in the Virgin Islands, somebody will hand you a plate of food if you wait in a line, just to make sure that you stay there to vote.
Right, right, exactly. And so in recent times, talking about fraud and accusations, there has been a growing concern about the integrity of election systems throughout the world. Could you share with us the measures in place to ensure the security and fairness of our elections here in the Virgin Islands in particular?
Oh, so I could. It's that's an entire conversation. But 100%, there is no fraud in our elections in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I could put that on my life. It's a multiple factor. We don't print our ballots here. Our machines are not connected to the internet. Our databases are separated. Different individuals handles different stuff. Our ballots are kept in a locked and secured room. Um, and it's a multiple process, and we're always looking at ways that we can improve the process. Some might be like, oh well, we're living in a technological world, why don't you put your machines in on the internet? Well, those machines can be hacked when they're on the internet, so we don't put them on the internet. But it's just a multiple facet of stuff that we do to prevent fraud in the election world.
Hello,
Hey
Terrell.
Troy. Yes, I'm here.